Get ready for a quick quest guide for the Garden of Tranquility Quest, in which the main rewards for completing are 5,000 farming experience, an activated Ring of Charos, the ability to use the agility shortcut to the Varrock Palace Garden, and 2 quest points. You'll need to have completed the Creature of Fenkenstrain quest before taking on this one, and in terms of skill requirements, you'll just need 25 farming. When it comes to items, you'll want your Ring of Charos, which if lost can be obtained by pickpocketing Dr. Fenkenstrain on the top floor of Fenkenstrain's castle. Also, you'll want to have this equipped to save an inventory space. You'll also need a hammer, 1 rune or pure essence, a pestle and mortar, a regular or fly fishing rod, as well as a rake, a spade, a seed dibber, some secateurs, a gardening trowel, a field watering can, and a field plant pot. Additionally, you'll want 2 plant cures and 2 compost of any kind, but know that these 2 compost cannot be stored in the bottomless compost bucket. You'll also need 9 cabbage seeds, 9 onion seeds, and 3 marigold seeds, and note that if needed they can all be bought from Olivia in Draenor Village. When it comes to recommended items, you'll want to be wearing your best weight reducing clothing and to additionally have 2 stamina potions to help with the running around. On top of this, it's helpful to have a further 3 plant cures in noted form and 10 or so ultra compost, or alternatively 10 of the best compost you can use also in noted form, because inventory space is super tight for this quest. Reminder that you still want 2 unnoted plant cures and 2 unnoted compost of any kind. Now let's talk teleports, because there's a lot that you'll need. You'll want a fully charged Amulet of Glory and a fully charged Combat Bracelet, and you'll want to be wearing both of these to save inventory spaces. On top of this, you'll want a charged Games Necklace and either an Ectophile if you've completed the Ghosts Ahoy quest, or alternatively 3 Fenkenstrain Castle teleports. You'll also want 3 Varrock teleports, 3 Falador teleports, 2 Lumbridge teleports, and either 1 Catherby teleport if you finish the Lunar Diplomacy quest, or alternatively 1 Camelot teleport. Note that a few of these may go unused, but it's good to be prepared just in case. Now you can begin this quest at the Varrock Palace Gardens just to the east of the palace. But before we start, we first need a tad more inventory space. Firstly, use your hammer on your rune or pure essence, which will turn it into rune shards, and afterwards use your rune shards on your pestle and mortar to create rune dust. You can then drop your hammer and your pestle and mortar, but be sure to keep your rune dust on you. And importantly, you should now have at least 2 free inventory spaces. Next, talk to Queen Elamaria in the garden, and after she's rather rude, then select yes to officially begin the Garden of Tranquility quest before continuing through the chat, whereby you'll be handed a list. When the chat ends, talk to the Queen again and ask, how am I supposed to move statues all the way here? And go through the chat to obtain a trolley. Following this, run a tad north to the 2 large plant pots in the garden, and then use your buckets of compost on them to fill them up, before then dropping the empty buckets. Next, use your Amulet of Glory to teleport to Draenor Village before running a tad west and going into the wise old man's house just north of the bank. Now ensure you've got your Ring of Charos with you and talk to the wise old man. Firstly say, Queen Elamaria has sent me to seek your guidance, and then continue through a long chat that will turn into a quiz. The chat options for this quiz are random for everyone, and so you'll need to read through the potential answers and select the correct ones. The answer to question 1 is, show them a range of colors so that they can come to a compromise. For question 2, you'll want to answer, take his generous gift even though you have no need for it. The answer to question 3 is, it's absolutely, unquestionably the most interesting thing I've ever done. Question 4's answer is, put on the silly helmet and jump into the cannon. For question 5 answer, you of course PK Master 0036, no one could ever challenge your greatness. The answer to question 6 is, ask me nicely and I might consider it. And finally, for question 7, answer with, no, especially not that wise old man, who doesn't look at all suspicious. Following this, continue through the chat to have your Ring of Charos enchanted, and when more chat options appear, you can just exit the chat. Afterwards, leave the wise old man's house and then run northwest between the fences and continuing north through the cabbage patch to the farming spots above. After arriving, firstly select exchange on the tool leprechaun before selecting to store all of your plant cures and all 10 of your noted ultra compost or whichever compost type you brought, and afterwards withdraw 2 plant cures and 1 of the compost that you just deposited by clicking on them. Next, ensure that your Ring of Charos is on and then talk to Elston nearby the patch. Firstly ask, do you have any delphinium seeds to spare? Then select charm, that is why I've come to an expert for advice. Afterwards select charm, not just an expert, Elston. They say you are the expert. Follow up with charm, oh no, I love listening to gardening stories. Before saying charm million? Ah, just what I wanted to hear. And then after some more chatter, finish with, okay, I'll grow you some marigolds. Next, rake the flower patch in the center of the farming area, and once it's cleared of weeds, use your ultra compost or best compost you have on the patch, and then use your marigold seeds on the patch. Then drop your empty bucket and any weeds you have on you. Following this, it's time to head to the Port Phasmatis farming patch, either by using a Fenkenstrain's castle teleport and running east, or by using your ectophile before running west. After arriving at it, select exchange on the tool leprechaun before withdrawing 2 of your deposited regular, super, or ideally ultra composts. And following this, talk to Lyra nearby the patch. Begin the chat by asking, do you have any orchid seeds to spare? Then select charm. If you tell me your problems, I may be able to help you. After some more chatter, select charm. Yes, I was wondering about that. Before adding charm, times must be very hard for you. And following this up with charm, whatever you've done, I'm sure you had a just cause. Then select charm, and what is the nature of this fee that you pay? And after some more dialogue, say charm, if not yours, then whose blood are you offering? Before adding charm, how can you deal with so much guilt? And after some more chatter, finally say, that's a deal, I'll grow a patch of onions for you, before finishing off the chat. Afterwards, select to rake both of the allotment patches in the area, and when they're free from weeds, use one of your ultra or whatever compost you have on each of the 2 patches, before then using your onion seeds on each of the patches. With them now growing, you can drop your empty buckets as well as your weeds, and it's now time to head to the Ardoon farming patch. Use your charged combat bracelet to teleport to the ranging guild, and then run south for a while before going a tad southeast to the farming patch. After arriving, select exchange on the tool leprechaun before withdrawing 2 of your deposited regular, super, or ideally ultra composts, and following this, talk to Kragan nearby the patch. Firstly ask, do you have any snowdrop seeds to spare? Before then selecting charm, you seem to be a little irritable, my friend. Before adding charm, I don't like to see a fellow human being so upset. And after some more chatter, choose charm, so what ails you, my friend? After some more chatter again, select charm, well, is there anything I can do for you? Before following up with charm, so what can I do for you? And after he asks you to grow him some cabbages, say, that's a deal, I'll let you know when your cabbages are ready. Afterwards, select to rake both of the allotment patches in the area, and when they're free from weeds, use 1 ultra compost or whichever compost you have on each of the 2 patches, before then using your cabbage seeds on each of the patches to plant them. With them now growing, you can drop your empty buckets as well as your weeds, and it's now time to head to the Catherby farming patch. For this, use either your Camelot teleport before running a short ways east, or your Catherby teleport before running a little north to the Catherby farming patch. Here talk to Don Teixeira near the patches, and firstly ask, do you know how I could grow a white tree? And afterwards select charm. I think that there is something that you are not telling me. before adding charm. A secret is a dreadful burden to have to keep to yourself. And after a decent chat about the white tree, select charm. Unless you allow me to do this, she will die anyway, before finishing off the chat. Next, use your combat bracelet to teleport to the monastery before running a little south and then west up the hill and onto Ice Mountain before heading north, whereby you'll find the white tree nearby to the oracle. Firstly, use your secateurs on the white tree to obtain a white tree shoot. Following this, use the white tree shoot on your filled plant pot to plant it, and afterwards use your watering can on the white tree shoot to water it. Next, use your combat bracelet to teleport to the monastery once again, and then run a tad north to the monastery garden, whereby you'll find Brother Althric. Talk to Brother Althric and firstly select charm. These are the most beautiful rose bushes I've ever seen, before going through the chat where you'll be called out on your ring. Afterwards, run a short ways east to the Edgeville well before unequipping your Ring of Charos and then using it on the well to throw it down. Then you'll just want to run west and return to the monastery garden and try to take seeds from the red roses. Brother Althric will stop you, but simply go through the chat with him, and after it's finished, you'll then be able to get some rose seeds. Afterwards, select to take seeds from the red roses, then the pink roses, and finally the white roses. Seeds in hand, let's return east to the Edgeville well, and then use your fishing or fly fishing rod on the well to attempt to retrieve your Ring of Charos. Note that this can take a few tries, but just keep attempting this until you have it before equipping your ring again. Next, use your games necklace to teleport to Burthorpe before running southeast into the pub, and then exiting through the pub's southeastern door into its back garden, whereby you'll find Bernald. Talk to Bernald, and after going through some dialogue, select charm, but it is the only way that these vines will be cured, before saying, I accept the deal, and finishing the chat. Now use one of your plant cures on the diseased grapevines within the garden, which will fail to cure them. Then talk to Bernald again and go through the chat, and once it finishes, it's time to head to Tavali. For this, use your fat little teleport before running north out of the city and then northwest into Tavali and to the tree patch, making use of the agility wall obstacle if you have at least 66 agility. Now take off your Ring of Charos so that you're not wearing it, and then talk to Elaine. Begin by saying, I need to ask you about strong plant cures, and then continue through the chat with him. Following this, use your games necklace to teleport back to Burthorpe and again run southeast into the pub before exiting through the pub's southeastern door into its back garden. Once here, use your rune dust that you crushed at the start of the quest with your remaining plant cure to turn it a darker color, and then use this plant cure on the diseased grapevines to cure them. Afterwards, talk to Bernald and go through the chat to obtain some vine seeds. It's now time to start putting our garden together. Teleport to Varrock and run north into Varrock Palace before continuing to the kitchen located at the northeastern corner of the ground floor before exiting the palace east and heading south into the garden. The first thing that you'll want to do is rake the central white tree patch, and after it's raked, use your white tree sapling on it to plant it. If it's not a sapling yet, then I'd just do a double check to make sure you watered it. Next, rake the 3 most southern patches within the garden, which are all for the different colored roses. And afterwards use your pink rose seeds on the most western patch, your red rose seeds on the central patch, and finally your white rose seeds on the most eastern patch. The white seeds in particular can be a little bit finicky, so just make sure you've planted them and try planting them from different tiles if needed. Following this, head a little bit north and then rake the long vine patch along the western wall before using your vine seeds on the patch to plant them. And once all of that's planted, simply drop all of the weeds in your inventory. Now it's time to check in on the crops we planted earlier. Firstly, we'll go to the Port Phasmatis farming patch, either by using a Fenkenstrain's castle teleport and running east, or by using your ectophile before running west. Also re-equip your Ring of Charos now. As onions take around 40 minutes to fully grow, they likely won't be grown just yet, but currently we're just checking that they're healthy. If any are diseased, then exchange with the tool leprechaun and withdraw a plant cure before using it on the diseased patch to cure it. Alternatively, if any have died, then withdraw one of your composts from the tool leprechaun before clearing the dead crops and planting some more onions in the patch. Also, if by chance your crops are fully grown, then skip to the timestamp on screen revealing what to do next before then returning to this part of the guide. Following this, use your charged combat bracelet to teleport to the ranging guild and then run south for a while before going a tad southeast to the farming patch. Again, as cabbages take around 40 minutes to fully grow, they likely won't be grown just yet, but check that they're in a healthy state. If any are diseased, then exchange with the tool leprechaun and withdraw a plant cure before using it on the diseased patch to cure it. Alternatively, if any have died, then withdraw one of your composts from the tool leprechaun before clearing the dead crops and planting some more cabbages in the patch. If by chance your crops are fully grown, then skip to the timestamp on screen revealing what to do next, before then returning to this part of the guide. Following this, use your Amulet of Glory to teleport to Draenor Village before running northwest between the fences and continuing north through the cabbage patch to the farming spot. Marigolds take just under 20 minutes to grow, and so there's a really good chance yours will now be fully grown. However, if it's diseased, then exchange with the tool leprechaun and withdraw a plant cure before using it on the diseased patch to cure it. And if by chance it has died, then withdraw a compost from the tool leprechaun before clearing the dead marigold and planting another in its place. But with a little bit of luck, yours will be fully grown and healthy. In this case, pick the marigolds and afterwards talk to Elston before selecting "I have those marigolds for you," and continuing through the chat to be handed some delphinium seeds. And now it's time to get the statues. Firstly, teleport to Lumbridge and then run east until you're just outside of the castle gates. And now locate the statue that's just south of the Lumbridge Castle gates before using your trolley on it, which will see you push the statue onto your trolley. Following this, stand to the tile west of the statue and give it a big push. Afterwards, stand to the tile south of the statue and give it a big push, before following it north and giving the statue a second big push to make the statue roll further north. Afterwards, stand to the west of the statue and give it 2 more big pushes, which will push the statue east across the bridge, leading your screen to fade to black and you to end up behind the Varrock Palace. Now stand to the west of the statue and give it 3 big pushes, rolling the statue east. Afterwards, stand north of the statue and give it 2 big pushes, rolling it south. Then stand to the west of the statue and give it 1 big push, rolling it east, before standing to the north of the statue and giving it another big push, rolling it south into the garden. Afterwards, stand north of it and give it a regular push to move it 1 tile south, then stand west of the statue and give it a big push to roll it east, and finally right-click on the statue and select place to pop it onto the plinth. Note that if by chance the guards recapture the statue, then you'll need to talk to Elamaria before trying again. Now let's grab the statue from Falador. Teleport to Falador and then use your trolley on the statue of Saradomin just to your north. This will spark a rather long cutscene whereby the guards talk about their 30-second life expectancy. After the cutscene ends, you'll place the statue onto the trolley. Now begin by standing either east or west of the statue and giving it a regular push. Afterwards, stand to the south of the statue and give it 3 big pushes north, leading your screen to fade to black and you to end up behind the Varrock Palace. Now stand to the west of the statue and give it 3 big pushes, rolling it east. Afterwards, stand north of the statue and give it 2 big pushes, rolling it south. Then stand to the west of the statue and give it 1 big push, rolling it east, before standing to the north of the statue and giving it 2 more big pushes, rolling it south into the garden besides the green picnic table. Then stand west of the statue and give it a regular push east. Afterwards, stand north of the statue and give it a big push to roll it south, and finally stand west of the statue and select to pull it once, before then selecting to place it. And that's both of the statues in place. Now let's check in on our hopefully fully grown onions and cabbages. First, head to the Port Phasmatis farming patch, either by using a Fenkenstrain's castle teleport and running east, or by using your ecto file before running west. Hopefully you have some fully grown onions, and if not, then unfortunately there's not much else we can do quest-wise outside of waiting for these to grow. So hang out here for a little while, and note that you don't have to be logged in for these to grow. Once either of the two patches has successfully fully grown some onions, simply talk to Lyra and select "Okay, I've grown those onions like you asked," and continue the chat to be handed some pink and yellow orchid seeds. Following this, use your charged combat bracelet to teleport to the ranging guild, and then run south for a while before going a tad southeast to the farming patch. You should have some fully grown cabbages by now, but once again if not, then you'll just have to wait a moment for these to grow. Once either of these two patches has fully grown some cabbages, then simply talk to Kragan and select "Okay, I've grown those cabbages like you asked," and continue the chat to be handed some snowdrop seeds. A quick side note is that if your marigold died previously, then you'll need to return back to the marigold patch to pick them and then obtain the delphinium seeds from Elston. And I'll pop up a timestamp to where this was covered in the guide. Once you have all the seeds, it's time to finish off the Varrock garden. Teleport to Varrock and then run north into Varrock Palace before continuing to the kitchen at the northeastern corner of the ground floor and then exiting the palace east and heading south into the garden. Firstly, stand in between the two plant pots that you filled with compost at the start of the quest. Use your pink orchid seeds on the western pot, and afterwards use your yellow orchid seeds on the eastern pot. Once they're both planted, then rake the snowdrop patch to your southeast to clear it of weeds, and afterwards use your snowdrop seeds on the patch to plant them. Then go southwest and rake the delphinium patch, and once it's clear of weeds, use your delphinium seeds on the patch to plant them before dropping all of your weeds from your inventory. Unfortunately, it's now just a waiting game, and you'll need to wait around 15 minutes for these final plants to fully grow. You can hang out in the garden, go and do something else and then return, or even just log out and come back 15 minutes later. The choice is yours. Once everything in the garden is fully grown, talk to Elamaria and go through the chat with her. Afterwards, run north out of the garden and head west into the palace before going south through the kitchen and dining room and into King Rold's room. Ensure that you're wearing your Ring of Charos and then talk to King Rold before firstly asking, "Would you like to follow me for a minute?" Afterwards select Charm, "Of course, your majesty. Please forgive me." Before then selecting Charm, "The Queen has asked me to bring you." This will then spark a cutscene where you bring Rold into the garden and he's a total asshole before Queen Elamaria puts him in his place. Importantly, when the cutscene ends, continue through the chat with the Queen without exiting from it, otherwise you'll have to watch the cutscene all over again. After the cutscene finishes, just continue through the chat with the Queen before BAM! Quest complete. You'll be awarded 5,000 farming experience, an activated Ring of Charos, the ability to use the shortcut to the Varrock Palace Garden provided you have 35 agility, and 2 quest points. After finishing, consider waiting a couple of minutes for the white tree to grow a white tree fruit before picking it to complete a medium Varrock achievement diary task. Thanks so much for watching, catch you in the next quest.